Okay, so I find this very interesting. The shame of thinking that we're bad people or someone thinking that they're a bad person. So when someone says this to me, I get really curious. And I challenge them to get a little bit curious too. So see if you answer these questions, if you've had the thought that you're a bad person. This like shame thought of just thinking that we're like fundamentally bad. Okay. So my response would be get curious with yourself. First of all, has someone said this to you? Has someone told you that you're a bad person? Why do you think that you're a bad person? Did you do something that makes you think you're a bad person, or has somebody just instilled this into you? And really ask, how do you define a bad person? Because this is important, because bad can mean many different things to every single one of us. So it's, how do you actually define a bad person? Because this is where it will get more gray. Because you could ask, let's say, 1,000 different people how they define a bad person, and you'll get hundreds or maybe even 1,000 different answers to the same question, because bad is different to all of us. So how do you define it? And what action or thing that you're making yourself believe you are bad for, does that even fit your own definition of a bad person? Or justify having that shameful feeling of being bad? And look at that. Or are someone else's thoughts and judgments been put on you and you've just never challenged them? Because the simple fact that you're questioning if you're a good or bad person, in my opinion, is a good sign. And so it's really getting curious, what do you think defines a bad person? What is it that is so awful? And do you feel remorse for it? Have you done something wrong and you feel sorry about it? And so your brain is calling you a bad person and you're letting it and you're believing it? Or is it just that you made a mistake, but you're not a mistake? Do you see the difference? I did a bad thing versus I am a bad thing, or I am a bad person. It's those shame thoughts versus just more neutral thoughts. Shame is when we believe we are something and not just we had an off day, or we did something wrong. We're not there isn't anything actually wrong with us. There's a difference. And so it's I am a bad person, the shame thought, versus I did something bad, quote unquote. Meaning maybe you just did something that you weren't as proud of. Maybe you look back now and you think or believe that you could have handled it a little bit better. You could have done it a little bit differently and maybe had a little bit of a better outcome. That's different in being a bad person and fundamentally like not being able to change. And ask yourself, did you learn from it? What did you learn? That's one of the most important questions. Even if you made a mistake, what did you learn from it? How are you going to do it different next time? How are you going to avoid it or fix it in the future or apologize for it? These questions matter. And that leads you to action and leads you to growth versus settling and just letting yourself believe I am a bad person. That doesn't instill change or growth. That seems like you're just stuck the way that you are and there's nothing that you can do about it. And I don't believe that. Ask yourself what you learned from the quote unquote mistake that you made, from whatever situation it is that you're feeling shame for. And direct your brain down the path of how to fix it and how to grow from it and how to learn from it, not how to shame you and make you feel worse and hold you back even more. Because when we think that we can't change and we think we're just fundamentally like a bad person, that could very well potentially lead us to doing more harmful or misguided actions or behaviors because we've convinced ourselves this is just how we are and that we can't change and that we're just a bad person. No, we're people that sometimes do things right, and sometimes do things less right, but we can learn from them and we can be however we want to be moving forward. And that is what should really matter. And that is what you should let your brain judge you on. Not a mistake that you made. Not something that you said wrong or something that you can't take back. What did you learn from it? Get curious about it. Do what you can, of course, to make it right or to fix it if there was somebody else involved. But don't let your brain take you down the I am fundamentally bad path. Let your brain believe that you can change. Give it actionable, positive steps to take from whatever situation and handle it better going forward. It's like when I have a patient tell me that they were bad for having chocolate cake, a big piece of chocolate cake at their husband's birthday party, but they were bad because they're supposed to be losing weight to prepare for surgery. Okay. Well, that's in the past, and that was a choice that they made. But how are you going to move forward? How are you going to do better next time? Are you going to improve next time and maybe just eat half of the piece of cake? Or eat fruit instead of chocolate cake? Or, so did you learn something from that and are willing to make adjustments because you're on a path to better life choices? Or are you going to, and accepting that maybe that was just a one-time celebration, which you deserve to have because it's your husband's birthday party? Or are you just going to accept and let yourself enjoy that chocolate cake and not punish yourself for it because majority of the time you're making healthier decisions and you're making improvements on your health? It's not you were bad, it's that you made a decision, and yes, maybe it was less nutritious, but do you do it all the time? Did you learn from it? you know? Or at the very least, let yourself enjoy it. Give yourself some grace and some understanding that was a special celebration and you wanted to celebrate it with your husband, so you had a piece of chocolate cake. It doesn't make you a bad person. The point I'm trying to make is that it's neutral. Everything is neutral. It's the perspective or judgment we give it. To one person, like my patient, that chocolate cake was bad, made them bad because they made a choice that wasn't aligned with the health journey that they went on. Or so they claim. And then there comes shame and guilt and upset and stress, to where you ask somebody else and that chocolate cake would have been a reward, would have been a treat, would have been something that they've waited all week for, and they enjoyed it and they savored it, or maybe they've never had it. You know, maybe it's somebody that's never had chocolate cake before, so they look at that and it doesn't make them, they don't look at it as it made them bad. They look at it as a reward. So the point is that everything is neutral except for what we assign, like what judgment we assign or what meaning we assign. So you can change your thoughts around what you are thinking is making you a bad person, and ask yourself, do you really identify with being a bad person? Do you really believe you're a bad person? And then regardless of that answer, you can make changes to alter that. But sitting in the shame thoughts and continuing to believe that you will then act as if you are, and then you will get more of the feelings and the thoughts that you are, because your behaviors are going more in that direction. And it's just a loop. When really it's just getting curious about it and then allowing yourself to switch your mindset around it and challenge those thoughts and know that those might not even be your thoughts. And what really defines bad? Is it really bad, or was it just a mistake and something that you are not going to do again? Or would somebody else look at it and say, no, there was something good that came out of it. You know, that's another question. Is there something good that came out of it? Is there something, you know, it's just separating yourself from it. Take the situation and pull it out of yourself and look at it objectively. Look at it without it being an attachment or an identity of you. That's how it will stop feeling so overwhelming and consuming and like you are a bad person. Take the situation that is making you feel that way and separate it from yourself. And look at it objectively. Look at it neutrally. Look at it as just an event without tying any meaning to it. And ask yourself what you learned. If that's really how you want to identify, if that's really, you know, and maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But it's just about changing our mindsets and not torturing ourselves, and understanding that we can be a new version of us at any moment we choose to, and we can challenge our old thought patterns anytime we want to. We can challenge them and give them proof. Give your brain, instead of letting it control the show and show all the evidence of why you're a bad person, challenge it and show it evidence of the times that you were a good person. that you have done things right, that you haven't made that mistake, XYZ. And let that challenge it. Things that your brain can't argue with. Take, manage the thoughts a little bit and don't go down with it, because it's your ego trying to pull you down, and you don't have to let it. But the moment that you start thinking different and feeling different, believing different, is when you will start acting different and having different and feeling more calm and peace and having more of the results that you want. But we have to start believing in ourselves, working on our mindsets, and challenging the thoughts that are pulling us down. We got to kick those shame thoughts out, because it's not, I am a bad person. That's shame. I am unworthy. I am unlovable. I am fundamentally wrong. No. Those are the shame thoughts that that we're identifying with. No. Maybe at times I feel unlovable, or maybe at times I feel like a bad person. But are there ever times that I haven't felt that way? Are there people in my life that do love me? Are there people in my life that do think I'm a good person? Yes, of course. So that right there is proof that you can't just be an entirely unlovable person, or an entirely, we don't have to just let one thing identify us and consume us, and because it really does get into our heads and tear our confidence down, and it's just not a responsible way to think about ourselves. So there's my little rant, because it hurts me to hear people say that. That's my little rant. I just wanted to share. I hope it helps. Like always. I hope you get just a little bit of something from this and it helps you. Because we are just humans doing the best that we can. And sometimes we have our moments where we do better, and sometimes we have our moments where we don't. But we can improve them if we're aware of them and if we want them to be improved. We have that ability. Okay. You guys have a good night, and I'll talk to you later.